Salutations from all points of the shining triangle. Oh, fuck. So, just been going over some stuff. Like I rewrote the Book of the Law and everything, kind of basically starting from the beginning of everything that happened. Like, that still, I guess, holds meaning to me in some way, so. Hindsight's 2020. This is the fucking year review. I know it's almost over, and I've been saying that all year, but I just feel like anyway. Couple things. Nuit, Hadit, Rahor Kuit. Okay, the reason it's spelled that way with the it at the end is to represent the Brahman, or like the Godhead and each of the gods. Just like God, just like you are the Brahman, you know, like it's not a guy or a girl, it's the it moving through you. So each of the deities that are gods are also sub-beings of this one God, okay? Brahman. So there's this shit that keeps coming up in my notebooks. Like I write it, but it's written to me most of the time, cause whatever. But it's the idea gods notion, and it keeps coming up as like a shorthand in my things, IDGs, and I think this Rahor Kruit and Nuit and Hadi explains it best, because there's a big miss in saying something's a god when it's not, like worshipping false idols. But what the idea God is of the IDGs is raising the idea, the idea of an idea, and lowering the idea of God, because these are terms that people throw around all the time, and when you put them together, they contradict each other, because God is not an idea, but it also points out to the fallacy of people in general, and this is where it comes up in my writing, is that how people used to worship like a god of war, like Ares, or a god of love, or any of that type of shit. They would adorn their house with imagery worshiping these deities, and you would have temples dedicated to them. And there was that theory around where that was because people weren't in contact with their self, like their brain, our left and our right brain didn't communicate properly, so we had these gods to talk to us, which, boys and girls, our left and right brain does not communicate well with each other. That's still a fucking thing. But whether or not those gods were a thing because of that seems not to be the case. But the postulation here is that we raise ideas, archetypes of love, war, but instead of fully embracing these things, we pick and choose IDGs that are comforting to us, and we kind of put them up like golden calves in our life. And basically the reason I write them out in my thing as IDGs is for like the ego stuff. A lot of my work, Adam, man, we name everything has a name, draw a line, separate it, isolate it. It's still part of the whole, but you focus in on these things. Well, I had gone so far down that it's become ideas. It's hard to explain. Ehieh, Aiwass. That's the other thing. I am that I was. And that's a fucking hard pill to swallow. So, the karmic debt right now is pretty high. Jupiter and Saturn are moving in. And, there's this, pull to be bigger, go out, do more, say it. But there's also this fucking limiting constriction, I feel, and it's gotta, it just perfectly lines up with those two lining up. And yeah, I said in my one joke video that I'm an Aquarius, and I'm gonna probably continue to be one. But so there's a lot of celestial stuff happening in Aquarius in general, and it's like, yeah, that shit's whatever, like astrology, but the actual physical planets do have an effect. And you know, I'm not here to debate that or talk about that. It's more, I'm so fucking angry. Does that make sense? Like, hateful. Like, it's so hateful. I can't take it. That's why I keep myself locked up. I don't think that's helpful, though. I think I've been a little hard on my guards or benefactors. You gotta understand, I am the nothing. You all have lives. You've all done things. I've been here while you guys have done that. Yeah. Gone places. I've done things. I've worked my ass off, but I've also not worked. I've also not done anything for long periods of time. Like, I was at the grocery store, you know, right occupation kind of thing. It was the only job I felt like didn't fuck with my sensibilities, my ideals. There's a reason why I don't drive, because it's like why I don't use hairspray. You know, it fucks shit up. So, the job, yeah. Aiwass was working at the grocery store for a long time. And then I started seeing all the shit they throw out and let go bad so that new stock can come in. And oh boy, did my experience there end badly. And now it's badly as in, also I worked so hard I got carpal tunnel in my hands from just being so dedicated to fucking grocery store when everybody else was just like the kid there who didn't give a shit. So to me it was like, it pushed me harder. And of course I was just taking fucking opiates and all kinds of shit just to work and then get money and get more opiates. But this is me also having a house of my own too, kind of shit, which is a rarity. Homeless is harsh, but houseless is that more accurate. Because I got a place to sleep, nice bed right here, but it's like any day I could, might have to go. And I should go. That's the problem, because I've been planning my escape. It's going to happen this year, around February. You guys remember what happened around then? Something really fucking weird happened, where I had this plan to go to New York and just sort of kneel and beg for days until I was admitted passage to Valhalla, or fucking the garden in New York. A certain garden, not just New York in general. But, find out he can't even leave the fucking state. So, I think Corona saved you guys the burden of pushing me away and making it even weirder between us. Not that you guys made it weird. I made it weird because my friend died. After that one party. Anyway. We're all just right here, you know? And it's like, we all keep saying, what do you want? What do you, what do you want most? Feed it. Kill that fucking desire, okay? That's why you're here. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Don't do what you want. Find that thing that's hard, that hurts. Disgrace yourself, raise yourself, whatever it is that saves you. You know, I'm not gonna say them. See, so this okay, that endures all of us, the desire that we all endure, suffering, that desire, suffering, it also then has to endure, which is not the plan here. Unless you want it to be. But I can tell you, we are getting sick of it. Aren't you getting sick of it? God, I'm so fucking sick of it. But it's still once, okay? So, homework assignment. Enjoy it. Whatever the fuck it is. Because it's happening, baby. It's what we get. Our karma. Our punishment. We worked hard for this. For a long fucking time. To get here. Now. Same as always. And it's always been hard. See that? It slips right off. Sight just gone. Back to, what do I do? That's why breath is voluntary and involuntary. Because when you go out of sync, you just realize, oh, I must have been holding it back. Holding it in. You have a natural rhythm. Goes out so far, and then when it's out that far, it'll naturally desire to return. And it'll fill so far, and it'll want to come out. And you just gotta remember that's what's happening. And you keep getting in the way of things going in and coming out. In and out. Right? So don't try to move and think about it. You are space. You're more empty space than you know. That's why you feel it. So empty. The voids within the little lights that make you up. See, Alex, he had a nice colorful view of it. When I was up there, it was very, very dark until I concentrated on my breath, and then there were sparkles that outlined that same fucking shape. Just one though, just like me out there, I think, connecting, trying to connect. So, primary penetrator. The reason that I carry this gun is it's a precise weapon. Heat it up quick or the bitch is gonna get it. Dozo. Sugoi. Wow. Dozo. See, we suffer because we're out of sync, out of tune. Because as much as it sucks to say, there is a right way to do it, which means we're doing it wrong. So, when I say do what thou will, I mean do what it will. The it in you has willed you into existence. Has chosen to endure your life. Find the reason why and embrace that, no matter what it is. It's a reminder for me, not you. His mouth doesn't stop. It's another reason why I don't put myself in the middle as much, for fear of what it'll say. It's not good at right speech. I don't know, guys. I've just been so mad. I don't know what that's about. Because I honestly feel like liberated. Like, fucking free. Like, for a long time I felt like I was waiting on people that I no longer have to wait on. That's like, you know, that's not even an option anymore. So, freedom. I just feel like I've been free for a long time and I haven't acted on it, which means I'm a slave to ignorance, which is my least favorite thing to be. I'm my least favorite thing, which is why I'm probably so hateful. So you see, you guys have all these problems out there, and I wish you all the luck with them. I'm gonna stay in here and try to fix this, and hopefully that helps, because other than that, and a few drawings, and shitty poems, and intoxicated wisdom I've managed to scroll down and save over the years, it's all I can do. Okay, one more bitch. I had a plan. I was a dental technician at my family's dental lab, which was going down because of the implant cases that changed the way you make dentures, so it's easier for dentists to make them. There's less like artistry involved. You don't have to get good at molding or like anything. You don't have to be good at anything anymore. You can make a mold that looks good and then just fit that to any mouth, which is fun. That's cool. But it made my PAPS materials and techniques obsolete, and so my dad started working with other people, whatever. I always assumed I'd just get the business like defunct. We're in a building in town. I lived there for a while. Some issues happened. I had another falling out with dear old dad, and somebody died that he knew, and he let his family move in there. Now we're at the point where the business is defunct, and he's moving on to work with other people. My mom and I and her sister used to make candles and other shit, Annie's aromas. Plus with the flower of life shit, I was going to just kind of have knick-knack shit, you know? And I was going to reach out to the Cosm and see if I could, like, just donate my business to them somehow and sell stuff. Like, be like a little Cosm store, just like small. Just so there's like a bit of life and love in Lewistown. Because there is a metaphysics store right up on the street that opened up a few years ago. So there's like this interest rising and like people meditating there, and they have like when I was trying to get my workshops for 2020, I went there and they were like, oh yo, tonight we have meetings for empaths, and I was like, oh well, that's clearly why I'm here. And found out they had like Tarot Tuesdays and just all kinds of shit. So I just took my like update 2020 stuff there and kind of was just spewing it out, you know. That was whenever I was fully half and half, which I'm probably gonna have to do again, because each time I try to take on a full load. See, there's this ritual I think a lot of people are familiar with Alex Gray, where he shaved his head in half, and he had this weird dream, and it was like his one half wasn't connected with his other, like he was more this or that. I had a similar experience in Portland around when 10,000 Days came out, after I ran away from this girl, Marla. It was like I am two different things all the time. I want this and I want that, and they contradict each other. So for me to act on either one makes me angry in the situation, part of it. But it was, and I didn't think about this, I just did it. But it was like a different half, the different half than Alex had. And I had grown mine out from bald to long instead of starting long and losing half. I shaved half my body too for like a year. Shaved just fucking everything. So when I'd walk around, I would feel the air blow up against the hairs on my arm and legs on this side, and I would feel it blow up against the shaved skin on this side of my legs and arms, and head and eyebrow. That's why I still do the eyebrow. Dualities is still here. I can't quite bring it to a gray area. I can center on it. I know it's there. I just don't have. This is the deal. You need a partner. Alex Gray and Allyson Gray can do what they do because they're together. And if they were alone, Alex would be doing this to me. Here I am without Allison. Hi, how are you guys? Love you, by the way. All of you. I had this weirdest thing when during the last full moon thing, when everybody was saying hi. There's like a word, deja vu, but when you see somebody and you think that you've always been with them, I had that fucking experience during the full moon thing, and I can't say who it is because people would make fun of me because they'd be like, "Oh, of course you thought you were with her forever," but it reminded me that at the beginning of 2020, I was talking to her in my head like like I used to say B all the time, and then like, yeah, relax B, talking to myself, and then I was like, oh, that fits really good because I'm talking to my body. And then I started hanging out like with this girl, and she kind of like made me like, which I wasn't attracted to her at all at first. Like, I mean, she was cute or whatever, but it was like I am so like not looking for a relationship that it never crossed my mind. To the point where this dude asked me if I was with her, like if he could hit on her, and I was like, I don't care. And then I was like, she doesn't really want to be with me. Like I basically was like, it's a waste of time. I don't know. But then I proceeded after that. I got infected by his IDG. The idea of being with her infected me somehow. Because after that, it started being like a girl's head in my voice. And it wasn't her. She was just there. Okay? So, because I used to have dreams, like even when I was younger, it was like, either I had an experience on 4th of July where this girl came up and sat beside me during the fireworks when I got out of my dad's car and sat on the ground, or I had a dream about it when I was little. But after that, I kept drinking, dreaming of this girl that has like firework hair is all I can describe. Like it gets real red, sometimes like different colors, like fiery. Like it's like all the explosions in the sky reflect off her hair. That's what I could see. So I have these dreams of this girl, with like fiery hair, just like forever. And yeah, started hearing this. I don't know. I read this Cosmic Christ book, Cosmic Christ or Consciousness. I don't know. Tal Malachi. It's basically about the tree of life and like a Gnostic tree of life kind of situation. But it taught so like through the lens of like Christ and Sophian. It was Sophian Gnosticism. That's what it is. So it's all about connecting with the female to what was it? It's all about connecting to raise it up. This is the Pussifer meditation I was sharing while I guess I wasn't on mushrooms when this happened. I was just listening to Pussifer before we went to go eat mushrooms during the full moon concert. I had been like preparing for Pussifer for like a month. The summoning. And boy, what a success. Like, all the shit, like, all the shit, like, if some people couldn't hold their shit or their tongue, you gotta go, that shit, people actually left, not because of that song, not because they couldn't hold their tongue, it was just like they reacted and left, like, I don't know, so many things went through my head, that night. Be careful when you pry open your third eye. It might scare people. And when you trip with people, you guys gotta talk about the intentions of everybody. Like, if it's a party for some and a ceremony for others, you're gonna miss like a parabola, you know, and go off in different places from the starting point, you know. Parabola endures the change. So you couldn't fuck it up for me. Like, I'm at the point now where it's just like, what did the guy say? And be here now. It's power. You can just eat it, and it's like, oh man. Yeah. So like when I was given the mushrooms, I I showed that lack of fear to everybody. But the reason I have that is because I go through the whole bad trip before the trip. I think of all the words, you know, meditate, center in the gray, pry open your third eye. Now, squeegee your eye before you start prying. Then you won't get infected. Okay? But the funniest part was the ayahuasca shit. Because the first time I listened to the album, I didn't catch it. My whole head was my train rides, and that Iowa is no place to go to, especially on a bullet train. Who the fuck is in that big of a hurry? And then I heard this song, Bullet Train to Ayahuasca, DMT, smoking DMT, which is what I did, which everybody talks about needing a lot, which may be why. See, my big problem was I was listening to Merkaba with headphones on, and when it got real heavy, I felt like I was being I felt like I was in this prison, and the headphones represented the prison to me, and I was able to take them off. Now, if they were coming from the speakers, I would realize I'm the prison, the breathing. I would have worked through that, you know what I mean? But I ejected seat from it and shit, and it was like this game folded up into my head, you know, because I could still hear the fucking shit, whatever, coming out. But it wasn't as fucking. So, like, I saw all of reality just fold up, boom, boom. And as it folded, the curves, I could see through time. Like, the things that were going to happen, they happened. I was like, oh, that's going to happen, shit. Up. And as it closed up, I cared less and less about it. But, like, one of the things I saw was, like, my buddy dying, and I was like, and when I connected to that big place where it was just blinking me, when I was breathing there for a minute, when I came back down, I had this conversation with myself or someone, because I remember walking around the room, but then I came out of it and I had my blanket around me, so I either wrapped my blanket back around me or I imagined walking around the room. But when I come back down, I'm in the room, and this room is filled with instruments, stereo, all kinds of wooden, like, weird, not guitars, but like weird little plucky things, weird little drums and keys, like in Chicago. And this dude has had all these other people's stuff and no longer lived there, and I was up in the attic with all these other people's stuff and my stuff. That's where I was staying, and I had like the alexgrey cards, like the sacred mirrors. I had the cards, so I had a couple of them in front of me, fountain bodies and stuff like that. Before that, the DMT came out to me. I had it on like this platter with like Thoth holding it on a scribe thing, like his scribe. So like when it was like Thoth was giving me the DMT. But anyway, I fucking come back down and I see the room and the instruments, and I'm like, oh, these are all tools. This is how you make reality and shit. And from there, the window started to form, and I could start to see outside. And just like now, because it was around the same time of year, maybe a little bit after, I look outside, well, and it's dark then too, and I see this type of shit. And I'm in my bare feet in pajamas, and I'm alone because my buddy's out, and we're having weird issues because we're both strung out on dope, and I had just left Pennsylvania to kind of run from it, but he's on it, but he's getting this shitty stuff that somebody's cutting with fucking makeup, and I'm like, dude, you gotta get off that shit, that's not good for you. Just all kinds of shit. And then I'm like, I remember my buddy's gonna die, so I'm like, oh shit, I gotta get ready. I gotta go back home. So I put my boots on, I put my fucking coat, shoes on, and shit. I grab my stuff, and I go downstairs, and I am like expecting Mike to just walk in the room door and be like, hey, I know just what happened. Here I am. And I sit there for like an hour, just coming down, and I'm like, oh yeah, time, space. He don't know what happened. How would he know? But he gets home, and he looks at me, and I'm like, dude, I gotta go. And he's like, what the fuck? He's like, you smoked that damn tea, didn't you? And I was like, I did smoke a little bit. And I was like, that's not why I gotta go. And he was like, yes it is. He's like, you're freaking out. He's like, I knew you were gonna do that when I wasn't here. We should have did it together. Because I may still be there if we had. But my friend did die a few years later, a year or two later. I'd like to say I spent as much time with him as I could have, but that's one of the regrets, was that I avoided him sometimes to keep people happy. Like, he was in a relationship, he was sick, he had endocarditis, his heart was cut out. We were drug addicts since we were 16. It's just like, when I'm around, the girlfriends always assume the guy's doing the worst thing. I don't know what they think. I just know they get in trouble more when I'm around. Even if I do the dishes or clean up, because the guy didn't do it. Like, there was nothing I could do, because it would just get him in trouble somehow. And I let stupid shit like that keep me away. Knowing deep down somewhere that, like, time is limited. That's why I'm here. So, our biggest obstacle is regret, I guess. And living in the past. That's why hindsight's 2020. We gotta be done doing this fucking lashing ourselves for the past, lamenting the death of my cock. It's just stupid. And the things that we imagine ourselves that we could be, or the people that we could be with, will never be that, or be with them, as long as we're worrying about who we were. They'll never see us. So, take it from me. Oh, an invisible. It's just a broken heart, son. This pain will pass away.